good afternoon to you, and thanks so much for joining us on Midday Live. My name is Nanikia Mensah Brampa. Let's go for the headlines for the afternoon. And coming up this afternoon, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry says security agencies are on top of issues and doing all they can to tackle the incidents of crime. Also, meanwhile, police service arrests 2 persons in connection with a robbery incident in North Kaneshie on Tuesday morning. And later on the foreign front, a UN report says North Korea has been sending equipment to Syria that could be used to make chemical weapons. Well, so we have the detail of these as well as sports, entertainment and business all in the next hour. You'd want to stay with us. We're also streaming live on Facebook. It's TV3 Ghana. Let's settle for the detail. Beginning from security, Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has mounted a spirited defense against criticisms following the recent spate of armed robberies across the country. The operations of the security agencies have come under scrutiny following the increase in the number of daylight robberies in the past 2 months alone. Now, in fact, just Tuesday morning, an automobile company at the industrial area got robbed, and 3FM's Kwachi Afreniama caught up with Ambrose Derry a while ago.
Well, yes, it's regrettable, but if we put it in context, over the Christmas, we had a very successful deployment, and then the last 10 days, there appears to be an upsurge of a different kind of armed robbery, not because it's not armed robbery, but its targets are different. What we had in the beginning, when we set up, was armed robbery, highways and domestic homes and what have you. Now we've seen in the last 10 days, there's been an upsurge of, money joints. And then yesterday, there was that daytime activity. So clearly, we lost control at all. What we're doing is making sure that we follow the leads. The police are following the leads. You realize that with the other robberies, we've got 7 suspects, and yesterday's one we've got 2 that we are working on to put things in context. You see, some people were wondering why we're not confronted yesterday in traffic. You want to have a successful operation without loss of innocent lives. Moving forward, as Mr. President has made it clear, part of the retooling that we are doing for the police would include helicopters. If we had that yesterday, it just flies over and gives us control. But some people thought, why don't you confront them right in the traffic? If you did that, and you hit 1 innocent person dead, then you got it messed up. So now we've got 2 people who are leading the investigation, assisting the investigation. But certainly it's regrettable that that thing has happened. But we continue to make the point that is a cumulative neglect, which we are rectifying now. As I talk to you now, the President's promise is not empty at all. We are trying to procure, and some of these things probably we should advise us.
Including helicopters, you say?
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. How soon will that happen?
Now, that's what I'm saying, that we're commencing procurement. Maybe these things should advise the kind of procurement we should do. Whether we should allow the bureaucratic procedures to hold us back, or maybe go for what the law has provided, that in case of security matters, you can have sole sourcing. We might have to do that to quickly get things in.
How many helicopters are we talking about here? How many are you looking
at? Well, I think that initially we're talking about 3.
And they'll be stationed here in Accra?
Of course, they'll be stationed with the police, and they would help in the backups. So we mean...
What about the other regions?
No, they're for the police, that's what I said. They're for the police. They would go wherever is necessary, and we will deal with the other things. So we are going to be adequately equipped, and we are doing that as fast as possible. It's a situation that bothers the President, and I can assure you, wherever he is giving with the orders, look, must make sure that things are going on well. But as we retool the police and build their capacity, it might increase our simultaneous reaction to it. For instance, if we had the air cover, yesterday we could simultaneously abort what was happening. No one should feel the situation is out of control. It's not out of control, and there is no power struggle anywhere. we, the security ministers, collaborate and work hard. So yesterday I was in touch with defense and we're monitoring the situation to see it didn't become necessary for us to take the next step.
Well, I saw 3FM's Kwache Afreniama interacting with the Interior Minister, Ambrose Theri. We will still stay a while longer on the subject because the police service has arrested 2 persons in connection with the robbery incident in North Kaneshie on Tuesday morning. Now, a statement from the police urged the public to remain calm amidst the recent spate of robbery attacks. The police has also assured that in addition to the arrests, patrols are also being intensified in areas identified as robbery-prone areas. Now, according to the police, they are on the heels of these criminals and are deploying men and resources to protect lives and property. The IGP, David Asante-Apietu, earlier announced the police arrested a group of suspected robbers believed to be behind attacks on about 20 forex bureaus on the Spintex Road area in just 2018. All right, so let's delve more into matters of security. And joining us via Skype this afternoon is Adam Bona, security analyst there. Good afternoon to you, Mr. Bona, and we're grateful for your time this afternoon.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to your cherished viewers. Yeah.
Right. Now, looking at the incidents that have been recorded, would you say that crime has increased in the past 2 months, and why has it happened?
Well, I wouldn't say, well, yes, crime has increased, but to say crime has increased in the last 2 months, one would say it will be a very unfair conclusion. Crime has always increased, if you know what I'm saying. If you do what I do, crime has increased for the last probably 4, 5, 6 years, but we probably didn't have this spontaneous reportage of crime as we are doing today. And so probably one will want to look at it and say crime has increased. But in the last 2 months, we have had a lot of crimes around where probably those who trade in money, those who have the need to trade in money are located. And if you know, between 2017 and 2018, we have had an upsurge of mobile money joints and forex bureaus dotted around the country. And once these miscreants who have access to arms and ammunition and have access to unregistered motorbikes are able to move, then chances are that everybody becomes a target. And instead of confining crimes being committed at those days at certain areas, now it looks more widespread. And so you find everywhere crimes are taking place because they are able to attack most of these umbrella mobile money joints, you know, those in containers, and rob them. And on their way to do most of these robberies, they discover new opportunities on their way. And so I would say part of the blame would have to be taken by the Bank of Ghana. The Bank of Ghana is supposed to be regulating the activity or activities of this those who deal in money. But unfortunately, they have been left on their own. And every morning you wake up and you have a mobile money joint there, a forex bureau that is open. And these, you know, facilities don't have the kind of security one would expect to have probably in a bank. How many universal banks or rural banks have been attacked in the last 10 years? They are probably, the number is negligible. But we are having an upsurge in mobile money robberies and, you know, the other one, what's the name?
Okay, the Forex Bureau. Now, talking about the Forex Bureau robberies, what do you make of how the police is handling the whole process of arrests? I understand 2 people have been arrested in connection with the one that happened at North Kaneshie, the robbery that went on at North Kaneshie. Is it satisfactory enough?
That's right. I think with the one that happened at Kaneshie yesterday in the morning, within 2 hours after the robbery, the police were able to arrest these 2 people. But from where I sit, these are key suspects, but the police probably might not want to. But these are people who Information I've gathered indicate that these are people who probably will lead the police into apprehending the rest of the suspects who made away with the robbery. And also with the, what do you call it, the forest bureaus. I mean, intelligence have also picked indicates that there are some foreign nationals. I don't want to sound xenophobic, but there are some foreign nationals who have also been apprehended amongst our own nationals who were part of the team who robbed some of these forest bureaus and mobile money joints. And so I would say the police have acted a bit swift. But the truth, we need to put out the fact. The police, even though resources are coming in, one would wish that the resources come in timely. If you had the Minister of the Interior, if they have to go through the process, I'm looking at it that the laborious way of procurement, if they have to go through it, by the time they are done with doing their procurement as it is stipulated, probably all of us would have been gone. And so I would say that issues with security, they need to fast track them so that we would feel very secure within the country.
Now, Mr. Bona, you raised the issue of resources. You remember the IGP raised concerns of lack of logistics. Now, with this money that is expected to be available, what would you suggest should be the priority areas the security agencies should look at?
The priority areas, if you ask me, I would say we need scanners. I have mentioned this, and I believe that it's been taken seriously. We have these miscreants who are running around town with guns, and we have police officers who are ill-equipped. How do you use your eyes to detect that someone is carrying a firearm with ammunition? It's just not possible. Technology has made it possible to do that. We should be able to deploy enough motorbikes, because most of these robberies are being committed by the use of motorbikes. And so I would urge the police administration to invest a lot into motorbikes so that these motorbikes can go into areas that probably vehicles, trucks or saloon vehicles or their pickups can't go to. So that in doing that, they will be everywhere. If you look at 2017 December, the deployment they did, Operation, is it Calm Life or something?
Operation Calm Life, right.
Yes, we didn't have that significant incident. And so we urge them to probably let's have an Operation Calm Life throughout the rest of this year, where we would have senior police officers, the other ranks deployed everywhere. That way we'll be able to cut down on the incidence of crime, because it looks like it's worrying. But I would urge policing is a shared responsibility. If you see something suspicious, inform the police.
So if you see something suspicious, you should inform the police. Mr. Adam Bona, we are grateful so much for your time this afternoon. He is a security expert there joining us on matters arising on security in the country. But let's still talk security, as Ghana has commemorated the 70th anniversary of the 28th February Christian Bell Crossroads shooting incident at the Nationalism Park at Osu in Accra. Now, 5 wreaths were laid in memory of the dead veterans. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia laid a wreath on behalf of government and the people of Ghana. On February 28, 1948, we would recollect Sergeant Ajete, Corporal Atipo and Private Odate Lamte, all members of the Gold Coast Regiment of the Royal West African Frontier Force that fought alongside the Allied forces during the Second World War, were killed while the regiment was going to present a petition to the then British colonial governor, Sir Gerald Creasy. Now, the ex-servicemen were going to present a petition to the governor on their unpaid war benefits when they were intercepted at the crossroads by a contingent of armed policemen. News about the death of the servicemen spread rapidly, leading to a situation where law and order broke down in Accra and other parts of the country. Away from security now, we're talking health, and Ashanti region recorded no case of cholera in 2017. The Regional Health Directorate attributes the feat to intensified surveillance in communities and awareness creation about cholera. But the rains already setting in and insanitary conditions engulfing most communities, can the region retain the success or not? Recording any cholera case in 2018. Well, Ashanti Regional Correspondent Beatrice Pio-Gabra caught up with the Regional Health Director, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran, and has more.
Cholera seems to be a major issue in the country so far as health is concerned. But for Ashanti region in 2017, no issue of cholera was recorded. This is according to the Ghana Health Service in the region. I have with me here the Regional Medical Director, Dr. Emmanuel Tinkran. Doc, good afternoon. Can you tell us how we performed so far as cholera is concerned in the region 2017?
Thank you. Based on the report that I gave during the annual review, I said the year under review, that's the year 2017, we didn't record any cholera case in the region. And that means that it's a good thing that we've done, because we all know the history of cholera as far as this country is concerned, the poor sanitary conditions in our country. And for that reason, the health system has always been very alert as far as cholera outbreak is concerned. So last year, we strengthened surveillance on cholera. So we're reporting all diarrhea cases, and then we were testing to see whether we can get cholera in it. Fortunately, we didn't. That means that we've done well as a region, because it means that the environment has improved in terms of sanitation, in terms of drinking water, and maybe people are very conscious about cholera, and for that reason they are adhering to the various protocols and guidelines that we've given them. We give a lot of health education as far as cholera is concerned, and the sanitation campaigns in various communities, I think, is yielding results. There's the need to sustain these gains, because when we rest, it means that we will have problem next year. So all the health education will continue. The surveillance system that we've put in place will have to be continued. And then the good sanitation practices, there's the need to enforce it, and we will need to talk more about it. Because the fact that we didn't record any case this year doesn't mean that if we sit and then rest, the disease will not come back, because cholera is endemic in this country. So there's a need to fight it all along.
So how will the collaboration be between the Ghana Health Service and the various environmental directorates of the Metropolitan and District Assemblies so far as this issue is concerned?
Yes, the issue is more of partnership. Ghana Health Service, what we do is that we do the surveillance and report the feedback to the district assemblies. And we are expecting the district assembly and then the community also to start with the sanitation campaigns, give education, and then whilst we supplement it with the other needed supports. So like getting diagnostic systems in place, and then making sure that we examine those who come with diarrhea diseases, we test them to find out whether it's cholera. So it's a partnership that everybody should get involved, starting from the community level, from the household level, district assemblies. Everybody should work hard so that we prevent any outbreak in this year.
2017, Ashanti region did not record any cholera case. It is the expectation of the health service in the region that in 2018 too, there will be no case of cholera recorded.
All right, so let's turn our attentions to Parliament now, as Parliament this morning suspended sitting after 37 minutes of sitting, and my colleague Evelyn Tingma has filed this report.
We are currently in Parliament House, and to start with, proceedings began at about 10:35 a.m. when the Speaker walked into the chamber. And then we had the Interior Minister, Ambrose Derry, coming to answer a question on when the Controller General of the Ghana Immigration Service will restore the work and resident permits of Ashok Sivram, an Indian businessman, as directed by an Accra High Court. But the Minister indicated that that particular matter was in court, and that ended it there. We also had the Gender Minister coming in to answer some questions, and then the House went on to lay some papers. So, report of the Committee on Subsidiary Legislation on the Legal Profession Regulations 2018 was supposed to be laid by the Chairman of the House, Mahama Ayariga, but he wasn't available at the time. Even though he was spotted earlier in the chamber, he wasn't available, and so that item had to be stood down. The House then went on to consider the taxation use of fiscal electronic device bill 2017. But before that could start, Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Muhammad Mubarak raised the point that the finance minister nor his deputies were here to be part of the process. And even the Attorney General, who is also supposed to be part of this particular bill, they were all not available. And so the Majority Chief Whip agreed with him. And so the Speaker had to tell the majority side of the House to call the ministers in charge to come here and be part of the process. So considering that the Speaker directed that the House be suspended for 1 hour for the ministers to come in and then be part of the process. And so as we speak, the House is currently on recess and expected to come back in an hour time after 37 minutes of sitting. From Parliament House, Evelyn Tinkma, TV3 News.
Why, so Evelyn Tingma will be joining us later in subsequent bulletins with more updates from Parliament. But on Tuesday, Parliament concluded the debate on the President's State of the Nation address, which was delivered to the House on February 8, Tuesday. Now, Minority Leader Haruna Iddrisu, when he took his turn, argued the economy is currently in a bad state and the President should work at addressing it than to keep promising the Ghanaian people.
Parliament began debate on the President's State of the Nation address on February 13. Members were given the opportunity to scrutinize the address. As usual, the majority side of the House hailed the address while the minority punched holes. Minority Leader Haruna Iddrisu had issues with government's position on sole sourcing.
There is hardship in the country. Living standards are not the best in the country. We should not pretend. The lack of confidence in our democratic practice and the lack of confidence in our economy. Mr. Speaker, even as at the time that the President was presenting the State of the Nation address, he was still relying on September figures on matters of GDP growth and matters of debt. That is not acceptable. What is the Ghana Statistical Service doing? As at yesterday, we do not have the end year figures for 2017. But you know what the overall GDP will mean as a percentage of computing government total revenue, as a way of computing debt as a percentage of GDP, and the way we will manage the economy.
He asked the House to take its oversight responsibility more seriously. Majority Leader Oseche Mensah Bonsu lauded the President's address.
Wherever you have sole sourcing and restricted tendering, even though we admit that they are legal, you must raise red flags. Because as you all do know, some officials, some public officials somewhere, wants to cloud issues by not being open, by not being transparent. Those of us here, as members of Parliament, may not be benefited. And yet, when the political class is maligned, we all suffer the consequences. And that's why we should be concerned.
Still in Parliament, the Standard for Automatic Exchange of Financial Account Information Bill was read for the second time.
You're watching Midday Live. Let's do education and law. And the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament has approved the controversial General Legal Counsel LI on regulating admissions into the law school. The decision was taken after the committee met with the Attorney General Tuesday over the petition from concerned law students demanding the withdrawal of the bill. Now, the concerned law students argue the system of exams and interviews which produced students for the law school last week also saw the mass failure of law students who sat for the bar exams last year. Now, 91 students out of the 474 who sat the exams passed to be called to the bar. A total of 206 law students are to repeat the entire course, whilst another 177 students have been referred in 1 or 2 papers. And Professor Stephen Kwaku Asare is a US-based Ghanaian professor. He joins me via phone from the USA. Good afternoon to you, and thanks for your time.
Good afternoon, Anekwa. How are you?
I'm doing good, Prof. I hope you're well. Now, a subsidiary legislation committee of Parliament, after consulting, has scrapped requirements for interview, but they maintain the entrance exams. I want to know your thoughts on that.
It's unfortunate. Let me say that the LI that they approved yesterday did not have any interview requirements. The interview requirements had previously been scrapped by the old LI, which was withdrawn some time ago by the Attorney General. So yesterday, we got nothing at all from the Subsidiary Legislation Committee. It's almost unfortunate that they claim they had approved the LI because the Deputy Attorney General showed up with some bill to amend the Parent Act, and they were satisfied that the bill to amend the Parent Act will address all the problems that we have raised. Which is kind of puzzling, because if there is a bill to address all our concerns, why then do you want to push this LI which detracts from all our concerns? The two statements are not reconcilable, and so somebody is not giving us all the information that we need. Second, we need to know, just for the record, how many members of the subsidiary committee were present at the meeting yesterday, how many members voted to approve, how many members voted against. We need a record. Third, people should take this matter very seriously, because the LI that we are talking about, that they claim they have approved, is so defective that the first thing that any good law should have, an explanatory memorandum. Every good law should have an explanatory memorandum. And that memorandum should set up the problem that the law is trying to cure, the type of hearing that the people hear, the administrative body, the General Legal Council, the type of hearing that the General Legal Council has had, what stakeholders have said, why they have made the kind of proposals that they are making, any impact assessment, and then whether they think the cure that they have put in place will be effective.
Okay.
Here, when you look at the LI, there's no such thing. It's just a bunch of statements.
Okay, well, so those are your thoughts. But let's fast forward. You have raised some concerns in our earlier conversations with you. You have also been concerned about the fate of these 3,000 students whose intellectual property have been forcibly taken by the GLC. Now, let's look at some suggestions that even if they don't go to the law school with that, for an LLB, they can be solicitors. What do you also make of some of these comments when they come?
No, they cannot be, because in Ghana, the way to become a solicitor or barrister, in Ghana, we don't really distinguish between solicitor and barrister, but the way to practice law in Ghana is to first get an LLB from an institution approved by the General Legal Council, and then automatically, under the Parent Act, under the Parent Act, that is under the Legal Profession Act, anyone who gets an LLB from a law school approved by the General Legal Council automatically is supposed to be allowed to take the professional education. And this is what we have been arguing about since 2015. And this is why I went to the Supreme Court in 2015. And this is why the Supreme Court said I was right, that if somebody has the LLB in Ghana, then that person is entitled to get professional education, because without that professional education, they cannot practice. The LLB by itself is a useless degree.
All right. We are grateful for your time, Prof. Professor Stephen Kwaku Asare is a US-based Ghanaian professor there talking about education and law. You're still watching Midday Live, and President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has said that Africa needs to build value-added industrialized economies with modernized agriculture in order to take full advantage of the digital revolution if she is to create wealth and prosperity for her people. Now, he said Africa needs to change the structures of an economy which is largely dependent on production and export of raw materials.
Describing Africa as a rich continent, if not the richest, President Akufo-Addo said Africa has the world's second fastest economic growth rate, the world's fastest growing region for foreign direct investment, and a young and vibrant population, and possesses nearly 30% of the Earth's remaining mineral resources. Thus, in order to create prosperity for the African peoples, President Akufo-Addo indicated that the priority must be to change the structures of the economies on the continent, which are dependent largely on production and export of raw materials.
Africa needs to transform stagnant, jobless economies built on the export of raw materials and unrefined goods, to value-added economies that provide jobs, to build strong middle-class societies, and lift the masses of our people out of dire poverty. We can only do so if we participate in the global marketplace on the basis not of the exports of raw materials, but on the basis of things we make.
The continent's second priority, he said, should be to increase trade and investment cooperation, not aid, as this is one way healthy economic relations can be developed between Africa and Germany, and indeed with the rest of the world.
With Africa's population set to reach some 2 billion in 20 years' time, there are immense opportunities to bring prosperity to Africa and to Germany too, with hard work, enterprise, and creativity. I urge German organizations and companies present to take advantage of this and enhance their trade relations with Africa.
President Akufo-Addo suggested deepening German-Africa trade and investment to generate investment in agro-industry, the energy and power sectors, and infrastructural development. The president called for increased cooperation between Germany and Africa in ensuring the promotion of transparent, inclusive decision-making processes at local, national, regional, continental, and global levels.
And in more news this afternoon, the Minister of Roads and Highways has served a last-minute notice to squatters on the Tema Motorway roundabout to evacuate for construction work to start on the Tema roundabout interchange. Now, work on the interchange, which should have started back in January 2018, has been delayed because of the refusal of the occupants to move. The angry minister also supervised the demolition of some unauthorized structures. And my colleague Richard Bright Addo is with the team and joins us for updates. Hello, Bright.
Hello, Nanapia.
Now, tell us, how serious is the problem of encroachment in the Tema area?
Come again, Nanapia.
How serious is the problem of encroachment where you have got into in Tema?
Yes, like you rightly said, these are people who have been given a deadline as far back as January 2018, that's this year. They were told that there's going to be the construction of an interchange, and therefore the squatters and those unauthorized structures should be moved so that they can make way for the contractor to begin work. But as we speak, the squatters are still on the said land. It's a government land. It's a runabout, and it spans a period of or extends to the lorry stations. There are about 2 lorry stations at the runabout, the taxi rank and the Aflao station as well. And so the minister was there, and this is not the first time that he has been there. He's been there severally. This is the 3rd time that the minister is visiting the place, because work that was supposed to have started as far back as 1st January this year has still not started. And so the minister this time was hard on them and had to supervise the demolition of some structures, unauthorized structures as well. And some filling stations are also expected to move.
Okay, right. We're grateful for that update there. Richard Bright Addo is my colleague with the team talking about the Minister of Roads and Highways there on the Tema Motorway roundabout. You're watching Midday Live. We return shortly with some business, sports and entertainment. Stay with us. This is Midday Live, time for business, and one of Samsung's messages with the new Galaxy S9 is that it's built for the way we communicate today. Samsung's artificial intelligence assistant, Bixby, will be able to translate text it sees from the Galaxy S9's camera into the language of your choice with a feature called Bixby Vision. Alfredo Kansi brings us more.
All the exhibitors gathered here have come in with one thing in mind: to unveil their groundbreaking, revolutionary innovations put together and let the world know what the next phase of mobile telephone technology is. Lots of manufacturers and many mobile phone manufacturing companies have all descended here into Barcelona. But at the moment, we're right here in the home of the S9 and S9 Plus, which has been launched, or which has actually been unveiled, awaiting the official launch in March by Samsung. The S9 and S9 Plus is the newest innovation added to the Galaxy family. This is how the S9 and S9 Plus looks like. We're going to be joining an official of Samsung who will take us through the experience of what the phone is and why you should be excited about these two new additions to the Galaxy family, S9 and S9 Plus. Let's go and take a look at this.
Emoji is basically a function to create your own 3D avatar. When you create your own 3D avatar, then 18 emojis will be created automatically. You can create your own 3D avatar right there at Emoji Gallery later. And also this S9 can have this dual speaker right here and right here. So you all know that Samsung collaborated with AKG lately, so you can enjoy full sound effect offered by AKG with AKG tuning technologies.
Lots of people walking in to have hands-on experience of the two Galaxy phones, S9 and S9 Plus, that was unveiled by Samsung at the Unpacked event a couple of days ago. Stay with us as we bring you live updates from the Mobile World Congress 2018 from the Europa Plaza in Barcelona, Spain, exclusively on TV3 and 3FM, Onia FM, Connect FM, and on 3news.com. Alfredo Kansi, TV3 News, Barcelona.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of B Systems, Thomas Berfi, has challenged government to harness the competence of Ghanaian companies in its quest to digitize the economy. He is of a view not many Ghanaian-owned companies are benefiting from government's digital agenda.
We'll still bring you updates from the Mobile World Congress 2018 here at the Europa Plaza in Barcelona. Ghanaians are here as well, and I must say that over the 120,000 visitors expected. And I've been joined here by Thomas Berfi, who is the CEO of B Systems Limited Ghana. He's right here at the Mobile World Congress 2018 in Barcelona. So Berfi, thank you so much for your time. Now, what's your experience so far with what you've been seeing, the groundbreaking innovation so far as unveiled?
Well, this is my first time of coming to the Mobile World Congress, and so far I'm very, very impressed with the new technologies that are on display here. We came here as a company to look at some of the new technologies that are being done, and we also wanted to cross-check with our solutions that we are developing in Ghana to see whether we are on the same level as the Europeans.
What, in your view, is the assessment of what government has been doing so far, and what do you think can be done better as we try to digitize the economy?
Well, looking at the economy now and the way the government is also trying to help the government sector to digitalize, what we are also saying is that in any economy, the innovation starts first before regulations. So what we are saying is that the government should try and help most of the private sector to help them to digitalize all their solutions so that we are the ones that knows what is going on in the industry. So instead for them to bring people from outside to develop these solutions for us, they should harness what we have in place. And then the companies in Ghana, B Systems, we have Ranka Solutions, we have Insano, we have Hoptel. All these are companies that can really help the Ghana government instead of them always looking outside. Because we have a lot of very groundbreaking companies there that we can help the government to digitalize most of their solutions.
Fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Thomas Bayfi, I'm grateful. Thomas Bayfi is the CEO of B Systems Limited Ghana, urging government to look within and harness the various solutions that Ghanaian companies or Ghanaian-owned companies can offer in a government's effort in digitalizing the economy.
Well, so Alfredo Kanse there joining us from Spain with that report. And on that, we're taking a breather. Return shortly with some sports with Yao Fosulabi. Stay with us. Right, so a video recording of a morgue attendant touching the corpses of musical artist Ebony and her friend Franklina Curry has gone viral. Now, in the video, a man is seen fondling with the late singer's body and stomach piercings. And the development has been widely condemned by Ghanaians, with some calling for the apprehension of the mortuary attendant and all those involved in the recording and spreading of the video. Now, the recording is believed to have been taking, or it had taken place at the first morgue in the Bunahafo region where the bodies were first kept. And on phone now to speak to us on the issue is Ebony's father, Nana Opoku Kwarteng. Good afternoon to you, sir, and we're grateful for your time.
Good afternoon.
Now, has the news of your late daughter's video from the morgue going viral come to your notice, and what is the family's reaction to that?
Well, I haven't had the time to watch it, but I've been told what is going on concerning my girl's video, and I've spoken to my lawyer anyway.
Okay.
Definitely we're going to go to court.
But some have also suggested that those in the video, when you look at the video, including the mortuary man, be arrested and be brought to book. What does the family intend doing now?
Like I said, whoever is involved should be punished by law. So that is exactly what we will do.
Okay. Now, we know that the late singer's funeral will take place on March 17, but we do not know the venue yet. Has the family concluded or settled on any venue yet?
Yes, we've done that. The venue is Independence Square. Yeah, that's right.
The Independence Square.
Yeah, Independence Square, that's right.
All right, sir, we are grateful for your time this afternoon.
You're welcome, my dear.
Nana Opoku Kwarteng is Ebony Rains' father, the late Ebony Rains there. Let's do some international news now. And on the foreign front this afternoon, U.S. media citing findings by UN experts are reporting that North Korea has been sending equipment to Syria that could be used in chemical weapons manufacturing. An as yet unreleased UN report also says Pyongyang's missile specialists have been seen at Syrian weapon-making facilities. Now, the allegations come after new reports of chlorine gas being used by Syrian forces, which the government denies. Now, a second daily pause in fighting in the eastern Ghouta region outside Damascus is due to begin to allow in relief aid. Aid was unable to enter rebel-held region on Tuesday, the first of the 5-hour pauses in fighting after clashes continued. Right, so that's how we end Midday Live this afternoon. There's more news on our website. It's 3news.com. Let's still stay interactive on Facebook and Twitter. It's TV3 Ghana. My name is Nanekia Mensah Brampa. Enjoy your lunch and have a good afternoon.